How you doing today, folks? So before we get started, just want to remind you all to like and subscribe to the videos. Definitely appreciated. Make sure you hit that little bell icon so you're notified and all that fun shit. Anyways, so before anything else, just want everybody to take a look at this. Two things with Microtech. One, they always have kind of polarizing designs. Two, the majority of their stuff is automatic. Now, if you're in a country or state that does not allow you to have automatic knives, to be clear, I'm in California, I still carry this because I'm an idiot. Definitely want to take that into consideration. Also, again, if the design aesthetics doesn't appeal to you, then you should probably stop here. But if you are still here, let's get into some specs. So first off, we have a 3.75 inch blade of this gorgeous 204p double edge coated blade. It is obviously a dagger. Very nice. 204p steel is similar to chemical composition to M390, so it will hold an edge for a long time. It's a USA made equivalent, so can pretty much keep everything USA made. As far as the handle, it is made out of aluminum. It is 5.5 inches long total, so a pretty decently long handle. It is only 0.5 thick though, so while it's a little beefy, it's not, it's not bad at all, honestly. It is 4.55 ounces total and tip down carry only. You can switch this to the other side if you want to. It is a pain in the ass. Getting this thing off is not fun. But if you want to, you can, but it will mess up some of the lines. So I would personally say I would avoid it, but if you have to, you can. So we're gonna get into a couple of the positives and negatives and then just have a general discussion about this knife. So as far as the positives, again, automatic knives, they're fun. Just doing this is fun. The aesthetics of this knife personally really appeal to me. I like this a lot. As far as ergonomic wise, as you guys know, I have very large hands, so this handle is long enough to where it fits. I can't choke up on it, and if I hold it comfortably, my finger ends up landing right on this little glass breaker, which wouldn't be an issue, except for the corners here are also pretty sharp. So the way I would normally hold a knife, obviously it goes down here, and that's just not comfortable. So if, right here would be my ideal, and then be able to actuate it, hold it comfortably, do what you need to do with it. But for me, that's not possible. Also, it's because of the size of my hands. If you have smaller hands, not an issue. Secondly, this clip, if you want to disassemble your knife, this sucks. This is really hard to get off. Again, proprietary screws. I have the tool. I did not take this apart, to be very clear. This is not my knife. I do have a buddy of mine who's a dealer who let me see his at the store and actually mess around with it and take the clip off and some other really basic stuff with his supervision using his tools. So that's how I know all this stuff. This is not my knife. This was not taken apart. I did not get consent to take it apart, therefore I did not. As far as the negatives though, a big one to me is the sound, right? Now this sound might appeal to you. It sounds kind of interesting. It's a nice ringing sound. First off, I handled 7 or 8 of these at my buddy's place, and maybe 3 of them made that noise. Excuse me, maybe 3 of them, I can't talk. Anyways, out of the 4 that I handled, 3 of them did not make this noise. So what causes it to do this really loud, echoey spring thing? I'm not too sure. This might be a quality control issue, might be a misstep. I'm not really sure, honestly. But again, the majority of these don't have that from what I've seen. So that might be a quality control issue. I can't say for sure, to be completely honest with you, but I do want to make everybody aware of that. If you do happen to get one of these with this type of action, it is really loud. I'm not sure how much it comes through on the camera, but this thing echoes. It is very, very loud. People will hear you across the room. I've deployed this and had people look at me crazy because it's just super, super loud. Carrying a knife like this is its own thing in general. Carrying a knife that kind of sounds like a train going by, that's kind of a whole different thing. For me personally, that's a negative. This is all supposed to be a tactical knife, so, you know, I said this again with Microtech. Someone's coming up or coming up behind somebody, got to be stealthy. Let's deploy our knife. Cover's blown. I'm not an operator. This is more of a joke, to be clear. But if you are in that situation, I can't imagine this would be a good idea. Mr. already deployed, not so much of an issue, but again, very loud. Now, we also have these proprietary screws, which you have to purchase a secondary tool for. That sucks. Taking apart an OTS, pain in the ass in general. I had one of the Grant & Gavin Hawk deadlocks a while ago. Taking apart that knife is a joy. This one, springs might literally hit you in the face. They just go everywhere. It's crazy. So if you're not prepared and knowledgeable about it, I would not advise you to take apart a Microtech, but if you so choose, you can. I actually love the way these proprietary screws look. I think it adds a lot to them, especially with this kind of bronze anodization to them. But it should be noted that if you want to take your knife apart, secondary tool is required. Again, disassembly frowned upon. This is again 204P steel, which has a very, very, great edge retention. This piece is kind of dull. I went and brought, okay. So here's the main edge. No issue, right? It goes straight through. Kind of relatively thick cardboard. No issues. You do the other one, and it almost tears. Like, it doesn't just quite cut, it tears. So it doesn't even go through. So this is double edge. Normally double edge knives from Microtech cost a little bit extra. I'm not too sure about the case on this one. Again, this is not mine. But this edge, very, very sharp. This edge is actually really dull. Could you cut yourself on it? Absolutely. That being said, we as human beings, we are fragile. We're very easy to hurt. If you're trying to process cardboard or cut things open or use this as a knife, it's not too good. Because it being 204P steel, this is going to be a pain in the ass to sharpen. So the fact that it came relatively dull from the factory, that is not good at all. Secondly, whenever you carry this knife, this will probably stab you. I am not fat. I'm also not skinny. I'm kind of in this weird little middle ground. So if you happen to be a twig, probably not an issue. If you happen to be even slightly overweight or even just an average weight, this is probably going to stab you. That sucks. It's not really an issue unless you bend over or reach to grab something or whatever, but this stabbed me constantly when I was carrying it. I actually ended up putting it in my little sheath or my little EDC organizer on my belt because I just got tired of dealing with it. I also talked about legality. If you choose to carry this knife, cop sees it. This is $350 according to Blade HQ. That's the single edge version though. I'm not sure how much the double edge version runs for. They're going to take this. If you use this knife to hurt somebody in self-defense, they're going to take it, and you're also going to get in a whole lot of trouble. I really want to make just an abundantly clear that if you want this knife and you choose to carry it, then to be really careful and to be prepared to lose it if need be. Now, that's going to be it as far as the specs. They're all written down in this little talking point book right here. As far as my overall opinion on the knife, so for me personally, again, this stabs me. The proprietary screws, I actually really like. This is a negative because disassembly is always, you got to maintain your tools. But me personally, I would rather buy a secondary tool and have something really cool looking like this. So this isn't necessarily a downside to me. It has kind of this podium jimping like stuff, which is very similar to the Benchmade Infidel. It is a little more concaved and it's a little cooler looking, but it is very much inspired by that. This is also a completely ambidextrous knife. So left hand, right hand, it's the same thing. If you want to get one of them with the side-mounted switch, you can still actuate that with both hands. It's a little harder though. It's easier to hit it on here, and then you switch and it becomes a little more difficult. So this kind of center-mounted piece on top of aesthetic-wise looking very nice to me. It's also just, again, completely ambidextrous. Again, the pocket clips you can switch around. It's a pain in the ass. Don't recommend you do it, but you can if you want to. And I have carried this on my left side. I've actually had this knife for longer than I was supposed to. It was supposed to be 2 weeks. It's been probably about almost a month I've been carrying this. I've really been trying to get my paces around it. I'm not really a huge fan of OTFs in general. This is my OTF. I carry this thing quite a bit. As you can see, it's not quite as long, but it's much fatter, so it fits my hands very well. Also, this doesn't have any weird stabbing points on it, so it's very comfortable. So this is what I normally carry as far as an OTF. Again, no ringing sound. Still loud, but it's not that crazy ringing sound. So I've really been trying to get a hang of this whole OTF thing. So for me personally, I don't really see that much of the appeal. This is my current EDC. Now I can get this knife out just as fast as I can get this knife out. It's not illegal. I can carry it wherever I want to. They're relatively the same size. This is obviously much fatter, but lengthwise, they're pretty damn close. Now, as far as aesthetic-wise, to me, I think this knife is absolutely beautiful. Maybe it doesn't speak to you, maybe it does, but aesthetic-wise, this is incredible. The downside to that being, though, I don't know if you've noticed, I've been wiping things off of this knife this whole time. This kind of hard anodized black coating, it shows absolutely everything. If you're OCD like me, when it comes to kind of not really a beater knife, this knife gets used, damaged, whatever, I don't care. This is meant to be beaten on as far as I'm concerned. This is more kind of a gentleman's knife or a tactical knife. So I'm more inclined to treat it like I do my firearms, which is to kind of baby them, make sure everything's clean and maintained. And some of the design choices make that really, really hard. As far as the 204 piece steel, I have had quite a bit of experience with that. Microtech does a pretty good job at it. It's not the best. The Rockwell, it's not ideal for 204p, but it's pretty close. That's good to go. But, just in general, there's something to this knife that both really speaks to me and I also very much dislike. And I can't quite put my head around it. So I figured I would just give you guys a whole bunch of talking points. These are the pros, these are the cons. This is how I think about it. Maybe you think something different. As far as the generalized score I always give knives, I really don't know how to score this. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, an 8.5. Which is an overwhelmingly positive score. It's not 100% by any means, but it's very good. The main issues for me, one, how loud that is. That is insane. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera, but that is so loud. And again, that actually might be a quality control issue because I handled quite a few of these and only one other one did this. And that other one was actually set aside, it was not out for resale, and it was actually going back to the factory because of an issue that was going on. And he can talk to me about what that issue is. Maybe it was the fact that it makes that noise. I don't know. But either way, that was going to be recalled. So that might be a quality control issue, which is a pretty big issue. The sound to me is an issue. This clip has really, really poor retention. If you can see, I'm just barely pushing this up. There's no strength at all, and it pops straight out, which means it slides into your pocket very, very nice. This nice smooth aluminum slides in very, very nice. It also slides out really, really easy. I babied the hell out of this knife when I was carrying it because I was afraid it was going to fall out and just ding up the aluminum. And again, this is not mine, so that would be an issue. I know Scott kind of well, but I'm pretty sure if I put a gigantic gouge on his aluminum, he'd probably be pissed. So that was pretty much anxiety filled. There is this nice bronze anodization to it. a lot of billboarding. So if you're not a tactical person, maybe you just want an OTF for whatever reason, this is very loud. You know, you got this whole clip to it. I'm really trying to express how unsure I am with this knife. Again, 8.5 is what I stand by. It is overall a really good knife. This edge not being sharpened, that is just ridiculous. For those of you who sharpen knives, you know, this should not be able to slide down my cuticle. See how this locks? Excuse me, right there. This locks. I'm pushing really hard right now. It's not doing anything. This slides straight down. That part's sharp. That slides straight down again. That's pretty bad. When the appeal of super steels is to be able to maintain an edge pretty much forever and the edge isn't already given to you. Again, I speak about this all the time. That to me is a really, really profoundly negative piece to it, because you have to send that knife out to get sharpened unless you happen to have the tools and the kit and everything else for it. Which, again, to do that proper, you're looking at, you know, either TS Prof or a Wicked Edge, or, you know, if you want to do a Lansky system, you can do that as well, but it's not ideal. A lot of people do a lot of damage with Lanskys. So if you don't already have those things, you got to maintain your own piece, and then bring up that edge that it should come in with the factory. That, to me, is very negative. We are 17 minutes in almost without many size comparisons, so we're going to go ahead and throw up. Again, this is my current EDC, a Medford 187 DP. We also have the Chris Reeves Sebenza. Oh, I'm tired. Anyways, here's it next to the Chris Reeves Sebenza. So, Sebenza is a decent sized knife for most people. This is quite a bit bigger. Thickness wise, it's well, this knife is thinner, but it's thicker this way. So width, thickness, I don't know what I'm talking about. We also have the Piranha knives. I actually forgot what model that is. I think it's like rated R or something like that, something weird. We also have the EDC staples, which are the PM2. Had this knife for going on like 3.5 years now. I'm actually going to be reviewing this very soon because I don't know, I feel like 3.5 years is enough to have a really good opinion about a knife. Also have the Benchmade Griptilian full-size model. I'll go ahead and do one more. This is also from Scott at Big Bore Knife and Gear. We have the SOCOM Elite. So it is definitely a bigger knife. It does carry very thin in the pocket though. I barely felt this when I was carrying it. Another, again, overwhelmingly positive piece. Another overwhelmingly positive aspect of this knife. It just carries beautifully. Again, there's something about this that I can't quite like, and I really am trying to figure out how to word it, and I just can't. Some knives speak to me, some knives just don't. The Microtech Hawk I just reviewed not too long ago, that knife had a lot of problems. I still went out and bought that knife, and I love that knife. That knife's actually gotten here now, and I use it almost every day, so... You know, knives are one of those weird things that even though there's some positive pieces to them, sometimes those just aren't enough. This one doesn't have any truly negative downsides besides, again, the noise and the dull edge and the clip, I guess. But those wouldn't normally be enough to make me not like it, but I don't really like this piece. Again, the whole score thing isn't necessarily about my opinion, though. It's more just about the basic fundamentals of the piece, how everything holds up. So it's why I gave it a high score. For me, this is just not for me, but it might be for you. It's honestly a great knife, just something about it does not speak to me. So that's going to be it for today, folks. Thank you so much for your time. As always, I appreciate you all so very much. Thank you for your likes, your subscribe, your support, your comments, your messages, everything. They mean the world to me. Now, please do me just as one personal favor and do the best you can to be a better person tomorrow than you are today. And I do promise you'll find your center in life. As always, thank you for your time. I love you all very, very much, and take care. Bye. And we're doing this again. The phone's not shutting off. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. Come on.